Today, we're diving deep into the engine room of one of the world's biggest countries, Pakistan. We're going to break down the one single organization that has the massive job of keeping the lights on for over 240 million people.
I mean, just think about that question for a second. For a country that big, energy isn't just about flicking on a light switch. Nope, it's the absolute lifeblood of the economy. It's what powers the cities, and it's the foundation of daily life for every single person there. So, how on earth does it all actually work?
Well, the answer really boils down to one central organization, Pakistan's Ministry of Energy. You can think of it as the country's energy nervous system, controlling everything from exploring for oil to managing the power grid. So let's pull back the curtain and see how it's all put together.
To really get what the ministry is today, you have to look at how it was built. And this isn't some dusty, static bureaucracy. It's an organization that's been reshaped over decades by huge growth and constantly changing demands.
It all started way back in 1947, with a ministry focused on water and power. Makes sense. Then, you fast forward 30 years, fuel becomes way more critical, so they carve out a whole separate division just for petroleum and natural resources. But the real game changer? That happened in 2017, when those two parts were finally merged into the single Ministry of Energy we're talking about today.
And listen, this wasn't just some random bureaucratic reshuffle. This merger was a huge strategic move. It was actually recommended by the World Bank, and the big reason was to make it easier to coordinate massive international projects, especially the China-Pakistan Economic Corridor. So the key takeaway here is that its modern shape is directly tied to Pakistan's biggest economic goal.
So how is this big, unified ministry actually set up? Well, the easiest way to think about it is as a single body, but with two very distinct, very powerful arms, and each one has its own critical mission.
At its core, the ministry is the executive body in charge of, well, all things energy. And that is an incredibly broad mandate. We're talking literally everything from the water rushing through a dam all the way to the oil being drilled miles underground.
And you can really boil this whole structure down to these two main arms. On one side, you've got the Power Division, focused entirely on electricity. On the other, the Petroleum Division, which handles oil, gas, and as we're about to find out, something else pretty surprising. Let's kick things off with the Power Division.
First up, the Power Division. This is the part of the ministry that most people interact with every single day, even if they don't realize it.
Its job sounds simple, but it's incredibly complex. Manage the entire life cycle of electricity. That means they oversee its creation at power plants, its journey across the country on those huge transmission lines, and its final delivery right to homes and businesses. The whole shebang.
And of course, it doesn't do this all by itself. This division oversees a massive network of state-owned enterprises. You've got giants like WAPDA, a huge player in hydropower, the NTDC, which is like the air traffic controller for the national grid, the PPIB, which works on bringing in private money, and all the various distribution companies, the discos, that actually get the power to the people.
Okay, so that's how the grid gets run. But what about the fuel that powers it all in the first place? Well, that job falls to the ministry's second arm, the Petroleum Division. Its most obvious job is to manage the country's oil and gas. That's everything from exploring for new reserves deep underground to making sure there's a stable, secure supply to keep the economy and the country running.
And just like its counterpart, it oversees some major state-owned companies that are absolute giants in the industry. We're talking about OGDCL and Pakistan Petroleum, which are basically the flagships of the country's entire exploration and production sector.
But here's where the story gets really interesting. The name Petroleum Division is actually pretty misleading. Why? Because its job goes way beyond just fuel. It is also responsible for all of Pakistan's other natural mineral resources, a mission that is becoming absolutely critical to the country's future.
So what does that actually mean? It means organizations like the Geological Survey of Pakistan and huge mining operations like the Sangdok Copper Gold Project all fall under this division. So its real job isn't just about fuel, it's about unearthing all kinds of national wealth from deep inside the earth.
And this double duty of the Petroleum Division is what brings us right to the future, and to what could be a just massive economic opportunity for Pakistan.
Take a look at this quote. This comes directly from the ministry. It's an absolutely stunning statement. They're saying that well over half of the country's exposed land has the potential for minerals. And this isn't just a guess. This is based on serious geological survey work.
60%. I mean, just let that sink in. That suggests a vast, mostly untouched treasure chest of natural resources just sitting there, waiting to be explored.
And we're not just talking about any old rocks here. The data points to world-class assets, things like major copper and gold deposits. But it also includes other huge prizes, from strategically vital rare earth elements to precious gemstones.
And this potential isn't just a number sitting in a report anymore. It's now front and center in the country's economic strategy. The ministry is out there on the world stage actively marketing this opportunity with campaigns like Pakistan, a mineral marvel, trying to attract the global investment needed to turn all that potential into a reality.
Which, of course, brings us to our final question. By unifying its energy sector, Pakistan has built a much more coordinated machine. Now, when you combine that new structure with the massive, untapped mineral wealth it also happens to control, you really have to ask, is the country standing on the verge of a whole new energy and resource era?